Hi, so welcome back to Dapp University. So today we're going to talk about a huge milestone for all of crypto that actually happened yesterday. I forgot to talk about it on our live stream. I think something has to do with the fact that we were just booting back up for the first of the year, first live stream in over a week, and it just happened to slip my mind. So we're going to talk about that at the top of the video today. We're going to look at a lot of other news updates that have happened in this space since our live stream yesterday around, crypto, NFTs, central bank digital currencies, all kinds of stuff happening inside the crypto space. Answer some of your questions, check on the crypto markets, and a lot more. So if you're around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to start today. Last but not least, like nothing I'm saying in this video is designed to be financial advice, and there's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. Like, I'm never going to give you my phone number on YouTube, never going to ask you to invest with me, never going to try to get you into a secret chat room to do a paid promotion or something like that. I actually got a message from somebody yesterday who got scammed by somebody who was pretending to be me to do advertisements in the video with crypto. So just be wary of that. I'm not going to try to get you into a Telegram chat. If I ever communicate with you, it will be through official communication. So anyways, we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Ethan, we got Mo, we got Lee, Robert, Trent, Adesh, Rodrigo, Alden, Jorge, Tobiah. I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. So Bitcoin is trending right now, okay, for a couple different reasons. And one of the reasons I want to talk about, one of them has to do with Bitcoin potentially breaking out of the downtrend that it's seen over the past several weeks and even months. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But one of the major reasons that I forgot to talk about yesterday in our live stream that I want to bring up today at the top of the video is that Bitcoin has its 13th birthday, okay, of the first block being mined. So why is it such a big deal? Well, Bitcoin, of course, was the blockchain, the cryptocurrency that really kicked off this whole thing that we have now. We wouldn't have all these other 1,000 plus coins on coinmarketcap.com or coingecko.com. If it weren't for Bitcoin, we wouldn't probably have these other smart contract blockchains, NFTs, anything like that if we hadn't first started off with Bitcoin. Maybe something else would have come along later. But as it exists now, if this had never happened, we wouldn't have things as they are right now. So it's a huge milestone. Another big important reason of Bitcoin's age is just showing the success of what we can do with blockchain technology and the long-lasting nature of the cryptocurrency itself. Okay, the fact that we've actually been able to launch a cryptocurrency and have entire nation states buying it, using it as legal tender, and longevity that spans a decade and a third is huge. Okay. And I think some of this will take some more time before we see more and more people, kind of get on board with this. But it's definitely a milestone that we have to stop and recognize because, things would not be the same without this. So that being said, Bitcoin is trending right now. If you look across social media websites, especially on Twitter, I think that's one big reason why. But another reason, like I was saying before, is that some of the price actions actually happen in Bitcoin. We'll comment on that here momentarily, so definitely stick around for the live stream. So we got, I think I saw a question come through in the chat. I guess I got, yeah. So somebody actually here said a comment about NFTs, about a speculation about NFT use cases. Let's actually talk about NFTs for a minute because I saw several things pop up as I was kind of browsing news from yesterday about NFTs that were noteworthy. So the first one definitely comes in from Bored Ape Yacht Club. So this is a really popular NFT collection, which just crossed $1 billion in total sales, okay? So one thing that's happening here is, number one, NFT price action is starting to tick back up. So, if that's the sector of the blockchain space that you're watching, that's definitely something that you need to know. Some NFT collections have been pretty bearish for a while, and now we're starting to see some activity pick back up again. Another thing about this is Bored Ape Yacht Club crossing $1 billion in total sales. I think a lot of NFTs, like we've talked about in the past, if you haven't been watching these streams, I'll reiterate this idea. A lot of NFT collections are probably going to go, to zero. A lot of them are not going to be worth that much. I think a lot of people getting into them honestly know that it's a substantial risk. But what's cool is to see the collections that are going to actually have long-term value and, ones where we actually see people, coalesce around this handful of NFTs. And I think this is evidence of that. Okay. Now we've crossed $1 billion sales for this new collection that only entered on the scene within really the last year. So this is a big milestone as well. And I think one of the reasons that we see this type of thing is these long-lasting NFTs are the communities that get built around them. I know there's a lot of NFT skeptics still out there. I mean, I definitely initially approached a lot of NFT collectibles with skepticism. But I think, beyond just, digital pictures on the blockchain, there's a lot that you can do with NFTs besides that. I think the digital pictures in and of themselves are just fine. But this intangible thing beyond that is definitely the community around those projects. And I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing this type of thing, really take off. So, I've said this idea many times in these live streams, but if you're new, I'll repeat it. I'm really excited about NFT possibilities beyond, I was just saying here, just digital pictures on a blockchain. Although I think the collectibles in and of themselves are a cool idea. And the more you can do with these collectibles, you can make them programmable. You can add these benefits to them. That's going to increase the value proposition in my mind for some of these NFTs. But, I'm particularly interested in how we can use NFTs for anything that's non-fungible, whether it's real estate, whether it's intellectual property, all this type of stuff. That's where I think that NFTs have a real, a real force to be reckoned with over the long term as these things can gain adoption. And somebody actually sent me this report yesterday. I don't think this was published yesterday. I guess this was published on January 2nd. But this is talking about how NFTs could potentially impact the music industry. Okay. So this is something that I'm particularly interested in. I have a background in the music business and, I've thought about this a lot. How could we use NFTs inside the music industry? And here's some pretty interesting, wild guesses as to how that could be the case. So, number one is that basically, we could completely change how we are paying for music. So he's saying, I can even imagine record stores of the future looking like the floor of the New York Stock Exchange with video screens displaying bid and ask prices for thousands of recording tokens. So, tokenizing digital assets like this, because ultimately, a recording is a digital asset, although I believe in the report he's kind of talking about some skepticism around this because really MP3, some people might not view that as a non-fungible token because you could just change any MP3 for another. That's not totally true because in computer science terms, it's non-fungible because it actually matters which MP3 you have because you could have a finite number of them and each one could have a digital footprint even if the thing you're viewing is the exact same. So I could see that. But, here, this is one way we could do that is making it easier to buy and sell these things on a blockchain directly and how that could actually change the user experience, which is, like he's saying here, basically having a New York Stock Exchange-like experience where you see bid and ask prices for music collections. And his other thing is you could extend this to not just buying the actual recordings themselves, but the intellectual property rights to the music that is recorded. Because this is something you have to understand in the music industry. You have two different pieces of intellectual property most times. You have the composition and the recording, and these two things are actually separate, okay? Well, you have the composition, the masters, and then the actual recording that you are consuming. So, you might have somebody who writes the piece of music who owns that music, and then the recording artist could be a different person, might be the same person, but could be a different person who then, creates the recording. And if it's a traditional record label, maybe the record label owns the masters of that recording, and then that master gets, replicated to some sort of consumable, whether it's digital or CD, and then the consumer might own that or rent it or stream it or something like that. So there's lots of different pieces of this puzzle that could be digitized and put on a blockchain. And, we saw this a couple weeks ago where, the rights to, I believe it was Bruce Springsteen's recording catalog was just sold. And, that's the kind of thing that could be put on a blockchain. There's no reason that in the future somebody couldn't get on Coinbase and then just buy, the Beatles catalog or something like that, right? That's pretty out there, but that's what's possible, okay? So I'll definitely put a link to this article down in the live chat replay. Let me just pull it up here. And then you all can browse through this. I won't go through the entire thing, all the 11 wild guesses, but I'll leave it there so y'all can take a look. It says exchanges need to figure out the intellectual property issues. Well, honestly, at the end of the day, a lot of the intellectual property stuff has got to do with, regulatory oversight over these matters, okay? So, I mean, we have the technology to accomplish a lot of this stuff already, and honestly, the scalability to do this, I think we have enough scalability to handle the amount of transaction volume of intellectual property, especially in the music industry. Not talking about like consumers consuming music, but I mean, anytime a catalog is like bought and sold, I think we've got the scale to accomplish that now. It's just that you've got to have incentives for regulators to want to do it that way. Because ultimately the laws have to likely change in order to make that happen. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and take a look at this. I talked about Bitcoin trending at the top of this video. One of the reasons is definitely because of the anniversary of the first Bitcoin block mined 13 years ago yesterday. Okay, but another reason I think people have their eyes on Bitcoin right now is because of what's happening with the price. Okay, so I'm not a big technical analyst. I'm not a sophisticated trader. I just watch these markets on a daily basis and try to give you all the update in these live streams about what I think is happening, or at least what other people are thinking about the markets. And I think people are getting a little bit excited about the potential of a trend reversal here. We've been in a little bit of a bearish pattern. And why do I think people are potentially excited about this? Is because if you were to do some technical analysis, you could draw a line across these tops and then basically say that the price of what's doing right now is trying to break out of that as resistance and potentially caveat here, establish an uptrend rather than this downtrend. Okay, so I think it will take some time to tell, based on how Bitcoin price has been moving for a while. My long-term view on this is that I still think we are in a macro global uptrend that will take some time for us to see the hallowed price targets of $100,000 per Bitcoin, $10,000 per Ether. I do think that we can get there. I do think we're going to get there before we enter into some kind of like grueling bear market or something like that. I just don't know exactly when that's going to be. Very likely could be in 2022, but nobody knows for sure. And why do I think that? Well, I repeat this on my channel over and over again, but I'll say it again in case there's newcomers, which is basically, my whole thesis is that you're creating technology that has real use cases and benefits, and a lot of that technology has cryptocurrency integrated into it, and as more people use it, that basically makes the price of cryptocurrency go up over time. Somebody's asking me if I use Logic Pro or Pro Tools. Well, I haven't used a DAW in a long time, but I've used both. Okay, so let's see here. So another big theme within the crypto space, again, I say crypto, I really mean this big, large umbrella that everybody's trying to get a consistent name for, whether it's blockchain, crypto, Web 3.0, whatever you want to call it. It's got a lot of smaller subtrends inside of it: cryptocurrencies, DeFi, NFTs, Web 3.0. And one of the themes inside this bigger umbrella is definitely central bank digital currencies. We talked about those a lot on this channel, but we are seeing some more news about this, right? We're seeing basically China's central bank digital currency wallet goes live on the App Store in pilot mode. Okay. So individual users in China may download a version of the app to try out a personal wallet for opening and management. Okay. The developers have listed the People's Bank of China Digital Currency Research Institute and Offshoot Central Bank to download the trial app. Basically, this is what they have to do. So this is a step forward, right? We're seeing the incentives for central bank digital currencies to be there. More and more countries are moving this direction. We're seeing it also inside the United States, all right? We're seeing this report come out right here. The Boston Fed seeks project manager for central bank digital currency development. All right, the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston is looking for a new director to lead the development of central bank digital currency. Working along MIT's Digital Currency Institute on a CBDC, or central bank digital currency research, a partnership that has put the Boston branch of the U.S. Central Bank at the forefront of the development. The project will also be keeping its research open source, according to Assistant Vice President Robert Bench. So that'll be interesting to see. So the last one I'll pull up here is this. So the Mexican government signals circulation of digital currency by 2024. All right, so that sounds like it's a long way away, but not quite as far away as you might think. So Mexico's central bank plans to have its own digital currency in circulation by 2024, according to a December 29th tweet from the country's presidency. So by 2024, it will have its own digital currency in circulation. These new technologies and next generation payments infrastructure are of the utmost importance as options of great value to advanced financial inclusion in the country. Okay, so this is a trend that is taking off globally. All right, and so like I was saying before, the incentives are there for this to happen, especially from central banks who are in power. Okay, there's a lot of mixed feelings on central bank digital currencies. A lot of people call them the anti-crypto. So let's kind of talk about that for a minute and why might this be happening. So if you take a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, for example, Bitcoin, it's a very decentralized cryptocurrency, right? It's borderless. It's not controlled by a central government. It's not controlled by any central corporation or entity of any kind. It's decentralized. You have nodes all over the world. People participate in running the Bitcoin network. It'd be very hard for like one country to just like shut Bitcoin down or manipulate the supply of Bitcoin in any way. You can't just create more Bitcoins. You can't just seize somebody's balance, although you could like take their wallet, I guess. But that's Bitcoin, a very decentralized ethos, versus something like a central bank digital currency, maybe being a cryptocurrency in name only, but not really embodying those values by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so central bank digital currency is essentially, we don't have clear implementation details on each central bank digital currency, but in essence, what's probably going to be is essentially just a ledger, digital ledger, controlled by, the central bank itself. All right, where they have the ability to do with the digital currency what they do now with fiat currencies, which is basically change the supply. Okay. And also just have way more granular control over it. So what would the incentive be to do this? Well, one of it is the optics of the world moving towards a crypto, then, a central bank essentially moving in that direction. But a lot of the, another big reason could essentially be a more granular control over the process, a more granular transparency over the process. We've already seen this type of thing, the desire for this to be able to, track transactions, get data, right? Digital currency is a lot easier to track than cash. Okay, this is one of the number one complaints about crypto. It's like, oh, it's only used by criminals and all that type of stuff. Well, so is green cash. Okay. So if you have a central bank digital currency, it's a lot easier to track than cash. You could probably see lots of incentives for people to use that over cash. Might even punish the use of cash in some way, maybe not necessarily. But what we definitely could see is punishing the use of stable coins. Okay. When we talk about crypto regulations, one thing we definitely see firmly in the crosshairs of regulators is stablecoins, private issued stablecoins. There's a lot of FUD around stablecoins that, hey, they're not actually backed by real assets, that there's a lot of, hot air inside those stablecoins, that they're just like printing money themselves. Some of that might be true, but with a lot of that, FUD is sort of this whole idea of contrast bias, where it's like, how do we make ourselves look good but make somebody else look bad? So we come out and say all these stable coins, all these cryptos are bad, and we have this, good thing. So we could see regulations around stable coins where the incentive for the end user now is to use a central bank digital currency, which would be stable in value, as opposed to a privately issued stablecoin. So we'll see what happens there. But those are some possibilities of where I could see this headed. Again, I think central bank digital currencies are a big deal. I think central banks want them for lots of reasons. I think it makes it easier to have transparency into what the end user is doing or their citizens. So basically, instead of having a private bank account, you might have a bank account directly with the Fed. Okay. I think I could see them liking that. And then also, pushing you towards using that instead of a privately issued stablecoin. Now, will these things run on a blockchain? Well, they actually run on a real blockchain. I think I said earlier that it would be run on a ledger that the Fed controls. Well, they might still actually run on a public blockchain, but it may be controlled by smart contracts that they have full control over. So they might be able to actually, change the nature of the currency by manipulating the contracts. And as some people say, oh, smart contracts can't change. Well, that's true in and of themselves, but you can design smart contracts to change. So a lot of what I'm saying right now is definitely speculation, because we don't know for sure what's going to happen. But if I were to get, inside the mind of the creators of this, that's how I would think about it. So somebody says, can you please talk about how to own your own NFT marketplace, or maybe something about NFT ticketing systems? So, a marketplace, essentially you want to create, let's talk about a minimally viable NFT marketplace, or an MVP, minimally viable product. Essentially, you would just need some smart contracts that would essentially let people list NFTs, put them for sale, and you could, get all the NFTs that are listed for sale, and then let people perform transactions. So some sort of swap where people can bid on them, and whenever the bid is satisfactory, that a swap occurs. Okay. So for a real sophisticated NFT marketplace, you're going to want some additional machinery around this, all right, to make these matches happen. But for a minimally viable NFT marketplace, you could just create the contracts, and whenever the bids are satisfactory, either the seller or the buyer could call the swap function as long as the bid met the ask. So that's one way to do it. You definitely want a website of some kind that talks to the smart contracts. You could have people connect with MetaMask, do it directly on the blockchain. But that would be a basic NFT marketplace. Now, as far as ticketing system goes, you would just want to have you could just create an NFT that has basically, it just represents the seats in a concert venue or a sports venue, whatever the ticket's for. you could have an image for the ticket. It could be a QR code that lets people scan it to get information about the metadata on the ticket. You could put that on IPFS. Those are some options. You could have a way for people, like whenever they go to the event, they could sign a message proving that they own the public key of the ticket holder. For one who knows nothing about programming and coding, what would you recommend learning first for blockchain? Definitely blockchain. Like, learn blockchain first. Learn Solidity first. So I'm gonna go this in detail in the new video coming out, I believe on Thursday. I'm releasing the updated blockchain developer roadmap for 2022. So definitely check out that video. I answer a lot of the frequently asked questions like, hey, should you learn blockchain first? I also have a step-by-step plan on there on exactly what to learn. And then once you learn how to accomplish your goals of getting a job, building an app, becoming a freelancer, whatever it is. So do you think there's an opportunity for a front-end developer in crypto? Is it better to do front-end or to learn Solidity? So yes, there's plenty of opportunity to be a front-end developer in crypto. What I would say, though, is I would learn at least a little bit. I would learn a little bit of Solidity if you want to be a front-end developer in crypto, because most front-end developers are going to need to interact with the blockchain in some way. And if you create even some basic Solidity smart contracts and put them on the blockchain and then create a website that talks to your smart contracts, I mean, you're going to know the front end side already. I'm assuming you're a front end developer already. It's going to be just a lot easier for you to perform those tasks if you have some knowledge of how the back end works. You don't need to specialize in that if you don't want to, if you want to keep your specialty in front end development. But I would definitely just go through some of the tutorials on my channel or into the blockchain bootcamp, learn how to code Solidity smart contracts. Even just like build a few projects so that you understand how it works, to become a Solidity expert. But that knowledge will be hugely beneficial to you as a front-end developer if your goal is to be a front-end developer for blockchain. So I think ETH will undergo scrutiny and regulation with SEC in 2022. It's a good question. I don't think so. I mean, ETH has been out for a long time. It's had plenty of time to go under regulatory scrutiny. I think there's a widely held view that it'd be more under the oversight of the CFTC rather than the SEC. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not too worried about it, though. Is JavaScript React transferable to Solidity and blockchain? Definitely if you're trying to build full stack applications, because you can write JavaScript and Solidity applications. Sorry, you can write JavaScript and React applications that talk to Solidity smart contracts. That's exactly what I teach on my channel. Is the reverse previous question, can I go for a back-end dev position knowing Solidity well without front-end experience? Yes, you can. If your job basically doesn't require you to do front-end development. There's plenty of back-end developers that don't have to touch front-end. That being said, I think some front-end knowledge is good to have. I would just apply the job and then see or ask. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps the videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you can go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, Maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely. Actually become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp